Good evening, and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the City of Kettering Planning Commission for Monday, May 15th, 2023. This meeting will be televised as usual on Miami Valley Cable Council Cable Channel 6 and streamed live over the internet at mvcc.net. It will also be recorded and available for later viewing on mvcc.net. I would like to thank the Miami Valley Cable Council for televising and taping tonight's meeting. Since this meeting is both audio and videotaped to form a complete record for possible appeal to City Council and/or the courts, it is important that anyone who wishes to address the council to please come to the lectern, speak into the microphone, and give their name and address for the record. The Planning Commission is a volunteer, independent body appointed by the council whose mission is to hear all bodies involved and subsequently make a motion to approve, deny, continue, or recommend the application. All action by the Commission can be appealed to the City Council. I'd like to start off by introducing members of the Planning Commission. To your extreme right is Ken Lackey, Assistant Secretary. Next is Carol Fisher, Secretary. I'm Ray Waskey, the Chairman. And our Vice Chairman, Don Rethman, has an excused absence. And tonight we have Ryan Holmesy, our City Planner, who will also be acting, he'll be wearing a second hat as our Recording Secretary tonight. So under old business, the first item on tonight's agenda is approval of the minutes of the Commission's meeting of March 20th, 2023. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Mr. Holmesy, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Lackey?
Yes.
Mr. Waskey?
Yes. The minutes have been approved for March 20th. Turning now to new business, the second item on the agenda is a request for a lot consolidation / replat at 4340 and 4350 Wilmington Pike, planning case number 23-008. And we'll begin with staff's presentation. Mr. Holmesy.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a very straightforward request. Over on Wilmington Pike, there's two different property owners. There is on the screen now, let me see. It's on Wilmington Pike near the intersection of Wilmington and Bigger. Lot number 3 here is a vacant lot. Lot number 2 contains a house, and it's owned by the same person who owns lot number 3. And then lot number 1 contains a house and is owned by a different individual. And this plat, this is actually an area of town that's never been platted, so it's the first time they've platted it, was triggered because a survey was done relatively recently, and the owner of lot number 1 found out that a part of their driveway is on their neighbor's property to the north. So as a part of cleaning up that slight encroachment, which is very minor down here, we determined a replat would be necessary. And as a part of that, they decided to officially plat these 3 parcels into 3 different lots. So again, here's an aerial image you can see. Here's the vacant lot to the north. That vacant lot is owned by the property owner of the lot to the south of that, which is a single-family house. And then the house to the south of that is owned by the other applicant. And this area here is where the driveway encroachment is located. And here are the existing property lines, and just to show that this is a very minor plat, here are the proposed lot lines. Really, the only lot line shift is the area depicted by this dashed line here is being moved to the north a little bit to make that driveway fully on the adjoining property. As a part of that, kind of as a cleanup, they're officially dedicating right-of-way along Wilmington Pike to be consistent with our thoroughfare plan for that area of town. And then the county gave a comment. There's an existing 15-foot wide sewer easement here. The county requirement today is that that easement be widened to 20 feet, so they're adding 2.5 feet on each side of that easement. And those are the only changes included. as a part of this plat for this area. From a zoning code perspective, the two standards we had to review is the minimum lot size and the minimum lot frontage. All three parcels are zoned R1, and all three will meet the minimum lot size and minimum frontage requirements per the plat. And then we had to also look at our subdivision standards, and this plat meets all of them. The only exception being that the record plan, when it comes in, needs to be certified by the surveyor. And we do have a staff recommendation, but before I get to that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone on the Planning Commission have a question for
I
Mr.
have
Humsey?
none.
Or
I don't have anything.
okay, I had just two questions, rather minor. The easement that needs to be widened 10 feet or 5 feet, does that easement go the entire length or width of that property, or is it just that stub?
It actually doesn't. The public sewer for that property comes in from Silman Place, so there's a little stub of the public sewer there, but it ends. It doesn't like extend to Wilmington.
Okay. And the other question I had was, when you showed the second slide that showed the driveway between lots 1 and 2, I take it there's no issue with that driveway extending across the boundary
Right here?
of those two, right there, right. Mhm.
No, I mean, they're in joint ownership now, so if that question came up in one of the meetings we had before the meeting, if that'd be a problem, and the answer is no, because the same property owner owns them. Now, if they were to sell off one and not get either an easement or replat it to have the access to this property guaranteed to them, then it could cause a problem in the future, but that'd be a civil dispute between two property owners. From a zoning perspective, there's nothing wrong with that setup as it is today.
Okay. I kind of thought so, but I wanted to be sure that I did understand that. So that's the only questions I had. So moving on well, first of all, do we have the applicant here? I believe we do. Do you care to address the commission?
It's been presented, as I understand it, what we were expecting. I don't have any questions or anything particular to add.
Okay.
It is just trying to clean up the situation that we discovered some number of years ago.
Okay.
Trying to make it proper.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Holmesy, staff recommendations.
Thank you, Chairman. The staff recommendation is that the Planning Commission motion to approve the record plan case number PC-23-008 with the following, I should say, condition, which must be met prior to the provision of Planning Commission signature, and that's that the plat drawing be sealed by the surveyor.
Okay. So, Mrs. Fisher, I believe you have a motion.
I do. I have a motion for the Gerstle Kane plat, whereas an application has been received from Joseph A. Gerstle, owner of the property at 4350 Wilmington Pike, Dayton, Ohio, 45440, requesting approval of a plat of 4340 and 4350 Wilmington Pike. This plat would take 3 existing parcels and plat them into 3 lots containing 2.0883 acres. And whereas this plat also dedicates 0.372 acres of right-of-way along Wilmington Pike, consistent with the immediately adjoining plat to the south and the thoroughfare plan of the City of Kettering. And whereas this request constitutes approval of a final record plan for the newly described lots and the acceptance of the right-of-way dedication. And whereas the Planning Commission has reviewed the facts surrounding this request, including an oral and written report by city staff, which is incorporated herein. I move that the applicant's request for approval of the final record plan for the Gerstle Kane plat be approved with the following condition, which must be met prior to the provision of the Planning Commission signatures. The plat drawing will be sealed by the surveyor.
Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this motion. Mr. Holmesy, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Lackey,
Yes.
Mr. Woski.
Yes, the motion has passed. The last item on the agenda is audience participation. So since we have some members of the audience, do you care to bring anything to the attention of the Planning Commission that is not on tonight's agenda? Feel free to speak up. Here's your chance. Okay. All right. All right. Turning to other business, signing of plats.
We don't have any.
No plats to sign. Communications and reports.
I don't have anything major, but I wanted to go over a couple things just real quick. If people are curious about a few construction projects that started recently, I think since the March 20th meeting at the corner of Woodman and Dorothy, that old, the Throckmorton, we called it the Throckmorton property, has been demoed, and there's something under construction there. That's a Take 5 oil change place. There's construction started on one of the Meyer outlots that was approved by the Planning Commission. The plat was approved, I think it was late last year. That's a new Taco John's. The former Siam Pad Thai on Wilmington Pike, kind of a few properties south of the intersection of Dorothy and Wilmington. That's a Jimmy John's drive-through going in there. And then the former Imperial Car Wash just north of that same intersection is they're going to be another car wash, but they're kind of demoing some of the interior work and reconstructing the outside. That's a Spin Light car wash. And just want to give a quick update on those if anyone was curious. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. So 4 new projects going in. Planning Commission comments.
I have none.
I just wanted to give us a quick update on the old Fountain Square Shopping Center and where that stands today.
Yeah, I'm not heavily involved in that. I did hear, again, this isn't like me, my first-hand account. I know that the fences moved around and there were some things delivered, and I believe a call was made to our office about scheduling some inspections. So I think slowly that project is starting up again, but I would have to talk to the chief building official to know for sure where they are. But I think the work seems to be starting, or there's the precursors to work happening out there now.
Okay, I was just curious. I saw in the paper it was going to be starting back up, but driving back and forth, I haven't seen a whole lot of change.
If you go by now, I think that there's more stuff on the site, but I think that just started like Friday or even today, maybe.
Okay. Good.
Any other comments?
I don't have anything else.
And I have none. So that brings us to the end of the meeting. The next regularly scheduled meeting is planned for Monday, June 5th at 7 p.m. And so therefore, this meeting is adjourned, and the time is 7:13 p.m. Eastern Time.